Extra, extra, read all about it! Welcome to the Empire's Recap, and today we'll be going over the chaos and drama of our somewhat respected rulers. This week, we have a special visit from someone we haven't seen in a while. In the flesh, at least. Several emperors have brought her up by this point in one form or another. The ones we love never really leave us alone, I guess. Joey starts this week trading words with Joel, and the threats that follow make him, let's say, concerned. He's not worried about the god following through and starting a war, of course. Pirate Joe isn't afraid of anything, but it does mean it's time to upgrade his armor. And his fashion. He's still wearing the rags he washed ashore in. To get the netherite, Joey needs TNT, so he's glad that he and Jimmy got a little more acquainted last week.
I don't really know where he lies in Catherine's and I's relationship. I'm not sure if he was a paid actor for her or if he's, actually in this throuple with us.
A flight to Tumbletown once again turns up an empty TNT wagon, and Joey is fed up with the constant lack of stock. If Jimmy won't actually provide gunpowder, then Joey will.
I'm going to make a gunpowder factory that is going to blow him out of business.
He already has a spot scoped out. The lighthouse on the waterway leading past Sanctuary is the perfect place to hide a creeper farm. Now to just go borrow with intent to pay later the materials he needs. Flip's giant stone sign doesn't lead to a stone shop, and Joey is getting tired of this bad store etiquette. Who had Joey Karenark on their bingo sheet?
I leave a 1-star Yelp review. Let's go home.
Joey planned to borrow the wood that Sausage likes the least, birch, but the trapdoors are not to his taste. Even if it's hidden inside of a lighthouse where no one will see it, he'll still know it was ugly, Guess that red striped shirt's not for nothing. Joey's getting pretty handy with redstone this season. The farm goes up with ease, and he can even explain how it works. Of course, it's still an eyesore, so it's lighthouse time once more. Spawning rules means that it's more effective during the day, but even half an hour gets Joey enough gunpowder to pay off his debts. And who better to start with than the man staring at the giant lighthouse himself, Sausage? Joey gives him gunpowder in return for gossip. Jimmy might be upset about the second gunpowder farm, and Miss Witch Shelby is making moves on his Catherine? Joey needs that armor now. He scoops up all the debris that Gator needs to upgrade it to netherite. But first, to make the armor as enchanted as possible, Joey needs to have a talk with Pirate Parrot Pete. The prices on his wares are just too high. Is there a discount? There will be, after Joey invites a zombie inside to meet Pete. After a convenient cure, Pete is back where he belongs, in the library, selling mending for much better prices now. Finally, everything is ready. Joey drops off his armor and the netherite at Gator's mini lighthouse, and when he returns, it's expensive, it's enchanted, it's got the skulls of his enemies as shoulder pads. With this, Joey's ready to fight anyone. God, witch, or sheriff.
Forever oblivious to threats until they blow up in his face, sometimes literally, Joel is working on the Stratos farms. Chickens are the name of the game today, as Joel starts off by building a small chicken farm. And then, he builds an even bigger chicken farm. Is he compensating for something? His height, maybe? After he adds some greenery via some trees, and helps Jem with some warden troubles, he begins to set up the prank of the week. By hiding small egg farms in the goblins that dispense baby chickens as soon as eggs are laid, Joel quickly fills the goblins with chickens with some unwitting help from Lizzie. Helping Jem isn't the only time he deals with Warden though, as Jimmy has recruited Sausage and Catherine to help slay Steven the Warden from last week. Sad. Obviously Joel has to run interference here, only dying a few times.
Are you? Howdy.
Give me a back! This man! I can't tell you how much I dislike you! I can't tell... Sausage!
Okay. Anyways, his next plan is to build the next temple, and this may look familiar to some. Here is the Temple of Jeremy, a god many thought crazy after he renamed himself and began renaming everything else. This temple isn't complete without Donkey Jeremy, and he even creates a new donkey toy for the occasion.
We're not speaking of toys, and instead speaking of sheriffs. Tumbletown is having a bit of trouble this week, with the warden having somehow escaped its presence, likely with some help from Joel. Getting some XP from Joel's farm to enchant a bow, Jimmy goes down into the caves around Tumbletown to take on the beast. He dies a few times, but in the end he decides on calling in his alliances to help. Checking the board of alliances though, he needs to update it. A pagoda is soon built to show off all the alliances of Tumbletown and their respective flags. He invites some allies over to help him with the warden issue, and Catherine and Sausage answer the call. An uninvited guest has to ruin the party, however, and Joel keeps interfering with the trio's efforts. Eventually, though, they manage to kill the warden, though not without a few deaths themselves. Joel continues to be a menace to society, tormenting the sheriff at every opportunity he gets.
Jem is back in Dawn, with a new visitor at her docks. The warden Whip left as a gift is stuck in a box, but is still very deadly to our Sun Princess. She asks for help for killing the warden, and assistance comes in the form of Sausage, Joel, and Pixlriffs. They take down the warden together, and Jem decides, rightly, that she should probably start working on her defenses. So she builds up a harbor wall around her greenhouse to control who comes into port. She comes across a child near the portal of Dawn, who turns out to be a distraction for a zombie sausage surprise.
What is wrong with you?
Give me brains!
No.
She shows off her new port, which should keep her and all of her citizens safe, including her new friend Irene, who is the very first mending villager of the Empire. Jem gets to work on zombifying Irene and 2 other farmers.
You know, I didn't think I'd be waiting for the sun to set today, but here we are. Come on, sun. Please set. Hey, did my orange sheep escape? Hello? One of you has climbed a mountain. That's impressive, to be honest. I don't know how you did that.
Although she's gained good trains in Irene and 2 farmers, she has lost a villager in her carrot farm. Those defenses don't seem to be working that well. She wishes she had someone to help her defend Dawn. There's a strange noise when she says that.
Wait a second. What's that? Up there. Villagers, did you see that on the mountain? It looks like a bear. Why is there a bear on my mountain? I think I've had enough problems today. I could do without a bear.
There's a 3rd surprise in Dawn today, coming in the form of a great brown bear hanging out in the mountain nearby. It's very friendly though, and she decides that this new bear will help her defend Dawn, or at least make her look more intimidating. She named him Apollo. It's the Sun Empire after all. And she discovers that she can actually ride this bear too.
Oh, it's lovely! Nobody speak to me and my bear ever again. The goblin will no longer mess with us. He's got a pig, but I've got a bear.
Apollo, don't interact. An ominous start to the episode with false symmetry this week, as not only the sign has updated to warn her of voices, but a pumpkin man has moved down the long pathway she made northwards. He's giving her a bit of the creeps. She needs a lot of wood to make her bridge a lot more stable than it currently is, and maybe while she's there, she include a gateway to keep the pumpkin man outside the town. On her way to Sanctuary, she discovers her box of gifts for any visitors has been added to, not taken from. That's not what it's for, but thanks, mysterious gifter. Her first ever visit to Sanctuary impresses her, and she takes the scenic route to the woodmill, where she comes across a small child standing around, but no sausage in sight. Looking around for him, she is surprised when he comes out from behind her looking like a zombie and attacking her. With some entirely unexpected and concerning PvP skills, False wins the fight by a large margin, and soon finds out it was only a joke. Luckily though, Sausage doesn't seem too mad about it. With the new materials she got from Zombie Sausage, she gets to work on the bridge back in her empire. She ends up pretty much completing it, and makes a very welcoming gatehouse. It may be welcoming, but that doesn't mean it's not there to keep people out. That includes the Pumpkin Man, who she moves distinctly out of the gate. It's time for Project 2, the Villager Conversion Unit. She mines out that hole in a base from when she had the iron farm, and takes it quite far down for a trading area. She brings in a zombie first and the villager second, before realizing she doesn't have the stuff for a weakness potion. A visit to the Evermore luckily helps her out with that. She manages to get her villager converter working, and her productivity today is pretty amazing. Now at least she has trades for when Whip gets back in town, and somewhere welcoming him for to visit.
Sausage kicks off his episode by naming the mighty Dockmaster.
Oh, look at that. Camilo, ¿cómo estás, mi hermano? Ah, buenos días.
He then asks the magic to do the interior for him, following suggestions from signs, a cafe, a barber, a pawn shop. This economy seems to be functioning. Exhausted after that, he takes a nap. Somehow, he wakes up outside his house, and Shelby explains that he sleptwalked to her house. He's shocked that he can't remember anything, considering he's never lost time before. Shelby gives him a mangrove propagule for protection and gets on her way. On that note, it's time to get building, but of course, to build you need blocks. And Sausage doesn't have nearly as many blocks as he would like, so he heads off to collect them. While he does that, he somehow has time to gossip with Pirate Joe about a certain topic. Pick a side, meat boy. Anyways, he jumps straight into a time-lapse of this magnificent building. Standing over the sanctuary, the ceilings of La Cathedral de Santa Perla arch over anyone who steps foot inside. Seats for the priest and his assistants sit in the back, and pews line the floor. Sausage is very proud of this, and it seems he's not the only one. Saint Pearl herself makes an entrance and congratulates him on his work.
Join us next week for more chaos and shenanigans. Thank you for watching, and thanks to everyone for helping out with the project. Check them all out below.